All right, everyone. It's time for Curious Crossroads. We are under the weathers of the Mars Neptune conjunction. If things are getting weird in your neck of the woods, that would be right on time. So I guess the weirdness is right on time. That's all we can say. All right, we're here for some more weirdness with Canary today, which is we have done friendship episode number one. Now, Canary is fit to talk about friendship because he wrote the book on friendship or a book on friendship. It's a 40-page something something. He also has Jupiter and Aquarius rising, which is obviously a sign of luck with friends and groups. And he also has Uranus in the 11th house in Sag, sextile that Jupiter, which I don't know if he's learned that part of his chart, but Rachel's probably tracking what I'm saying. People who are listening are tracking. Okay, he's got some friendship.
Why don't you break it down for those of us who haven't learned what you're saying?
All right, Rachel, what would you say about Uranus and Sag in 11?
Oh, quirky. um oh gosh, I was not prepared for that.
Okay, I'll break it down. So Uranus is where we find like unexpected, interesting things or facets of life in our chart. The 11th house is a house of friendship, and Sagittarius is adventures. So that would be like Canary likes to go on weird, eclectic adventures with friends. And that is also in his chart. So he's got two imprints of friendship, Jupiter and Aquarius rising, and Uranus in the house of friendship in Sagittarius, which is quirky adventures with friends. And those two imprints are both there. So we get a double imprinted friendship chart, and he's written the book on friendship. We did one episode on friendship. We just loved it so much that we decided to do part two. How are you today, Canary?
I had a bit of a rough morning. One of those days where you eat too much ice cream 2 days before and then you have to regret it. It's like when people overindulge in alcohol, except I don't really drink.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But you know how it is. I woke up, stayed up late doing laundry till 2 a.m. So I woke up late and then only had 15 minutes to walk outside. But it's a beautiful day and I'm excited to be here.
Wait, you just woke up?
I woke up at 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But, you wake up, you got to conquer a little bit of China and some video game. You got to eat lunch. You got to go on a walk.
Gotcha.
Putter.
Yeah. So now it's this. And then one of my exes and I are going to play board games for 2 hours. And then my favorite Buddhist in the world and I are going to jump on a phone call for an hour. So I got a day of talking to friends online.
Oh, nice. Wow.
It's a good day.
You're going to talk to us about friendship because of your multiple friends that you have. So,
yes.
All right, what Rachel and I have decided to do for this episode is throw random questions about friendship at you, just random, and see what happens.
So, are you rolling a dice?
No, we could.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out what level of random you're at.
Yeah, we're not going to go in random order. We're going to go in the Rachel Andy order. So
okay,
yeah.
Right,
well, there's Rand. The okay, dumb pun.
It's rah.
Well, because you take RA from Rachel, you take the A and D from Andy, and yeah,
it's Randy.
It's Randy. Randy friends is what we got going on here. Okay, Rachel.
Take the Y from Canary.
There you go.
There you go. All right, Rachel, your turn.
Yeah, just first off, what does having a friend mean to you?
Okay, so I think I talked about this before in the first one, that for me, friendship is Sam and Frodo. Friendship is... Oh, I don't need this. It's the wrong mic. You can still hear me all right? I've got my settings good?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So Sam and Frodo, it's showing up for each other's problems when it's inconvenient. Knowing that you can bring problems to someone. And the worst thing that's going to happen is they'll very kindly say, I don't have capacity for this right now. But the best thing that'll happen is they will help. Or they will listen, or they will give advice. But generally, the best thing they can do is help.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have lesser versions as you're learning trust, as you're finding out who you can rely on, as you're noodling around. You're playing around in the shallow end of friendship to find out who's going to go on the deep end with you.
Okay. So my question then is, how do you know if a friendship is successful?
Well, success is always going to be based on what you consider a good friendship, right? So if you're going to adopt mine, my definition, my set of values here, it is going to be successful when you have shown up for each other in various ways, when you've supported each other's dreams and plans, when you've been there for each other's problems. And if you consistently don't, then that's not it. That's not doing the thing friendship is for.
So that's it. It doesn't matter how long it is.
No. No, I think consistency over time is a good indicator of how strong something is, but that's consistency over time, and the consistency is the key part. Just having time does not feel right to me, because I've seen people who were friends for 10 years and then they just stopped showing up for each other. It's like, well, we've known each other since we were 5, but we talk maybe once every 2 years. When we talk, it's not that deep. There's no integration of each other's lives. There's no coming to each other with problems. It just becomes surface level and distant. And I actually think that's a trap that people fall into, is to keep putting energy at something that's no longer really connected.
Sometimes it's almost like you're operating off an old version of who that person used to be versus who they are now. So you don't know their new favorite color because you can't get past their old favorite color.
Yes. And it can be especially tragic if you go back to who you were and that's someone you don't like as much as who you are now.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have friends who liked you at a time of your life that you're no longer proud of, or they haven't let you grow past into the things that you're proud of now. And those sorts of connections just don't feel good. At least they don't feel good to me. They feel binding. They feel restrictive. They don't feel supportive.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, okay, I have to say that I would say I'm a longevity artist in friendship, and some people are like surprised at the length of some of my friends, and that we still hang out. And I'm like, well, it's actually like a muscle I like to flex of like, whoa, I still hang out with my best friend after 25 years. Like, we still actually hang out. And like, people are like, why, how do you do that? And I was like, well, first of all, it comes down to planning. You have to make plans. Like, and when I met Canary and he's like, I was like, yeah, maybe we can hang out sometime. He's like, we must make a plan. I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like, I was like, I actually felt hopeful that we might be like good friends because I was like, he knew to make a plan. And I had loosely not even thought about it because I didn't really think we would be friends. I thought he was just like a passerby, kind of thing. But I think it's actually kind of a weird flex to hang out with your long-term friends.
So I play League of Legends with the boys. I don't recommend it. If you haven't started, don't start now. I play League of Legends with the boys every Friday night, usually for like an hour or two. And the boys are my ex-wife's cousin, who I met when I was 20. So this is 2 decades ago. And his best friend, who he met in 6th grade. So
wow,
like,
you got it too.
Yeah. So I met his best friend, who quickly became one of my closer friends about a year later. So those are kind of my longest running ones right now. But again, this ex-wife's cousin has me just absolutely beat with how long he's known the guy. And he married his high school sweetheart. So they have been together since they were roughly 15. And now they're in their late 30s.
Okay, so I was listening to this sermon the other day of all things, and he was talking about how like our life isn't built on people who left us. I thought this was interesting because it's like, okay, there's some people say that friendships come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right?
Okay.
And some people measure the success of a friendship on like, did it last forever? But according to this theory, if it lasted for its reason, like then it was successful, right? It might have been a 4-month friendship to get you into a certain topic, or like we don't know what the reason of that friendship was, right? Um, but sometimes friends have to leave, and I think it's cool to say that we could rejoice in their leaving at times because sometimes we've grown beyond what we were doing with them, or there's the reason has come to an end, or like, so what do you guys think about like friends leaving, and is that something to grieve, or like how do you feel about that?
You said you guys, so that opened it up to 2 people.
Yeah, I know. Rachel, what do you think?
You wrote the book. No, I there are friends for a reason or a season. Like when I lived in Montana for like a season working at the the ski resort, you know, I didn't take most of those friendships forward with me because we were there was in the context of a certain place. But I don't like losing friendships. It hurts. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, so because of where I put the label of friends and because of
Hmm.
how I feel about love, for me, anyone who I've called, like once I've invoked love, that person is always welcome back in my life. And we'll just have to navigate how to fit them back in later. And so I will grieve the absence of people who are missing, what I usually refer to as lapsed friends, which
Hmm.
is at about, I don't know if you remember my schema, my levels of authenticity, but I've got potential friends, people who I want to become friends with, who I think would be a good fit, but they're not yet because we haven't built that consistency of connection. Labs friends for me kind of revert back into that potential realm where it's like there is an open invitation for you to come back at any time. And sometimes I will miss specific things or I will be very grateful for impacts that they've had on my life. And then sometimes friendships do feel complete, like the ending of a book. Like there are people that I knew in college that I haven't talked to in 6 or 7 years at all. And I don't really think about them all that often. And I don't really miss them. We grew in different directions. And at some point, it just sort of faded away and we weren't connected anymore.
Mm.
So, yeah, some you grieve, some you keep the door open, and some just kind of stop being.
Makes me think of that phrase, I think it's in Spanish, where they say, "There's a hole in my heart where you once were." And like I have friends like that, like whenever they leave, like the hole in my heart just stays there waiting for them to come back. And like some people just fade out and it's not even like a thing, you know. But yeah, I think it's like some are fully cooked, like a turkey that's done, you know, and then others you're just like, where are you? You know, kind of thing. So
Yeah, I got a couple of those. I don't like thinking about it too much because it puts me in mind of the Suriname toad, and anything that puts me in mind of the Suriname toad just makes me real
S-
uncomfortable.
Suriname toad?
Don't look it up. If you so
Okay.
you know how some people are afraid of holes. If you're not
Uh-huh.
afraid of holes, looking at a Suriname toad will give it to you. Uh,
why is it? What is it? Does it have to do with tryptophobia?
yeah, that's exactly yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
What is
Tryptophobia is a
tryptophobia?
fear of looking.
The fear of tiny holes. Like
Ah, I
it's just
hate it.
yeah.
Like there's
The-
a certain pattern in nature that's like millions of holes, and tryptophobia is the fear of looking at that pattern. It's really gross. Don't look up tryptophobia on Google. You'll see too many pictures.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have now put an info hazard directly into this chat for no reason. But yeah, the biggest hole in my soul from someone who's missing, I had to kind of encase in its own little protective bubble because I kept going back to look at it and it just hurt.
Hmm.
So it's there. I'm just got a force field around it.
You know, I have to handle this astrologically for a second, which is, you know, from a composite chart perspective, which is how we calculate alchemy of friendships and love relationships. There are certain composite charts you cannot get over. They are so good. The alchemy is so magical. They're so good that when that person leaves, you're like, where is that thing I had access to without, you know, without them? I can't access this thing, you know? And so, my style is to keep, you
Wait,
know, the door open for for those composite charts that are so magical, you know, but the ones that are kind of meh or not that great, I just am like, whatever, door close.
so I'm gonna push back on one small thing you said there, which is you can't have access to that thing without them. I was so mad to find out that a former friend of mine was correct on this. But you can have little soul shards of other people still in you, and you can still access the thing that was closed off by accessing the part of them that still lives in you.
Whoa, that's cool.
Now, the reason I was mad at him is I'm like, that's not real. And then turns out he was right. But
Wow.
I'm not angry, I'm mad, and that's a very different feeling.
I actually like that because it's like you could say that you are holding on to a piece of the, like the understanding of that composite chart in you, even if the person's not there anymore, their spirit is still there. And so you can access it through remembering what you had or whatever. I think that's actually nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you can, if you're sufficiently imaginative, you can talk to the version of them that lives in your head. The problem with that is, of course, then you can start projecting that onto the version of them that doesn't live in your head. And that's where you got to be real careful to keep those things separate. But you
Nice.
can absolutely still talk to your memory of that person.
Okay. All right, Rachel, your question.
Yeah. Do you think there's like a single word that can destroy a friendship?
Whoa, Rachel question. Weird. Okay. I like your questions, Rachel. They're really weird.
I don't think there's a universal one. So we're not dealing with like a white witch in the magician's nephew situation.
No,
But
just like kind of like a word that embodies an attitude that can really hurt a friendship.
yes, but I don't think you can destroy it. So to destroy a friendship, because again, all friendships for me involve love, right?
Mhm.
And love involves elements of good faith. It involves an idea of trust and trusting that the other person has your back and cares about your feelings and doesn't mean to hurt you. And it's very easy to step on each other's landmines, like the little buried wounds that you don't know are in there but are super powerful. And so, you know what? I like chancing my arm. My deepest one is that when I was in, I want to say 8th grade, I'd spent 12 years at the same school, like from 1st grade through 12th.
Oh,
And
wow.
one of the bad things about that is half the kids have known you since you were 6.
Yeah.
And if you're a weird outcast autistic who's undiagnosed and nobody knows why you're weird, you get dismissed a lot and people don't want to be your friend very often and you don't know why or what's going on. But I would always reach out to new people who came to the school on the chance that, hey, maybe I'll get along with this person. And I want to say it was around 7th grade. Someone said, and I'll not use my birth name because I don't. They're like, oh, that's just Canary. You can ignore him. And this was one of my deepest wounds. And so about 20 years later, a friend of mine said something that felt very dismissive and that he could just ignore or sideline me in a situation as if I didn't matter. And that deeply hurt. And I had to log out of the game we were playing and message him privately. And then we talked about it and it's fine now. But like he didn't know that was a big trigger. And it had been years since it had happened to me because as an adult, people aren't usually that brazen about dismissing you.
Yeah.
At least people you care about aren't that brazen. And all of that history of being dismissed gave me a strong expectation that strangers will. So that doesn't hurt so much anymore. So it's just someone that you trust and has the power to hurt you, triggering something. And then the only way that's going to break the friendship is if you don't try to repair afterward. If they don't try to adjust their behavior, if you don't explain it and you just let it fester, that can. But you do have to kind of choose to not fix it.
Yeah.
What about the word entitled?
Well, entitlement is the enemy of love, and entitlement always, always, always damages love. Always. Anytime, because so from someone who is entitled, if you're trying to pour love at them, it will start feeling really gross to do. It's like, I'm giving you this and you're not appreciating it. But also, it's very hard to then receive love from someone who feels entitled because they're like, yeah, you're supposed to do all these things for me because of X situation or X relationship, right? Like, you see stories about this all the time in relationships where maybe a boyfriend really likes getting donuts for his girl whenever he sees her. And then a few months in, she's like, hey, where's my donut? When he doesn't do it. And it's like, wait, where's the gratitude? Like, this is starting to feel like you expect this to happen just because it happens, not because I love you. And that's not good. But I do think entitlement, it's not going to be a action that blows up the friendship. It's going to be a pattern. It's going to be a creeping in and growing sense of, I get to have your service. I get to have your gifts. I get to have your time and attention. Not, I'm excited to have your time and attention and your gifts.
Rachel, I feel like that's kind of a fun question because we could throw a lot of words. Maybe that would be a cool another episode on friendship. I feel like Canary should just be our friendship expert for a while. But but no, I'm serious. We can learn a lot about friendship if we do a series on friendship. I mean, people do series all the time, but it would be cool to throw different words at friendship, like authoritative and friendship. Discuss. You know what I mean? Like you could just throw any word in juxtaposition, and it'd be interesting. Okay,
well, on that, there is a kind of bro code situation that's at least described online, where whenever a pack of guys is introduced to someone's girl for the first time, they act like whoever the boyfriend is the leader.
Hmm. Wow.
So
Oh,
you can pass around authority. It's a whole thing to wingman and just be like, yeah, I'm going to show up for my bro, and also whoever's day it is, right? Like,
passing on alpha.
yeah, you just you just defer to the guy who's showing off for his girl because you want him to look good for his girl. Like, that's your boy. Absolutely, you can play with authority in friendship.
Oh yeah, oh, that would be a cool episode. We're gonna have to do an episode where we just juxtapose different words with friendship. Okay, that'll
I'm
be our
in.
next episode. Okay, um, Canary and I are being friends by making videos together. That's our thing. Okay,
Not just making videos.
that's true. We do a lot of stuff. We went to Canary came to the Constellation Circle the other day, Rachel.
Amazing. I so meant to make it, and then I took a nap.
Well, you missed out. Okay, should friendship be pleasant?
So
Sometimes.
we're gonna have to break that apart into a couple of things. Because first off, you said one of my personal trigger words, which is the word should. And I think I've said before that I always replace the should with want to live in a world where. Because I don't believe in objective morality. I don't believe in objective oughts. I think it's all contingent on goals. And so whenever I hear the word should, I'm saying, okay, who wants to live in what world? So do I want to live in a world where friendship is pleasant? Yes. Should it always be pleasant? Well, then the question becomes, do I want to live in a world where my friendships are only pleasant? And the answer is absolutely not. Because as I've said repeatedly, Sam and Frodo, no part of going to Mount Doom was pleasant, right? They were out of food. They were dealing with weird gremlin-y things that were trying to split them apart. There were poisonous spiders, and there were orcs, and there was scars and hardship and hurt feelings and like mutual betrayals. And like Sam never got credit for any of it because Frodo was being actively corrupted. So I think that friendship will build toward pleasantness, but a lot of times you're going to be going through it. And I think that going through it together is a sign that it's a very strong friendship, even if it's not a very fun part of it.
Interesting. Rachel, do you have any comments on this?
No, I have watched that Lord of the Rings very little, so it's fun hearing it from your perspective and thinking about the movie and everything they did go through together.
Read the books, there's
Um,
more. They cut
oh
stuff.
yeah, they probably cut a lot.
Less than you'd think, especially with the extended edition, because they were being pretty
Yeah,
thorough. But they did cut some, and it's really well written.
yeah. Oh, just the arc of like being on a mission together and having one thing that kept them solid was that they had a goal together.
Mm-hmm.
Or one was
Yes.
to do the thing, the other was to help the friend do the thing.
Well, you could
Um,
also, if Lord of the Rings isn't your thing, did you get familiar with Harry Potter?
yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you take book 7, right? Hermione, and this is, I really like the fan fiction fandom for Harry Potter because I feel like fans did better with the world than Rowling did. But people like to really harp on Ron for leaving in the middle of the Horcrux hunt. Like, he got fed up, he got angry, he stormed out. And then
Yeah.
he did come back, which is important. They repaired it, but Hermione never left. And this, for people who are fans of Hermione, huge fan of the fact that she was deeply unhappy. She felt that they were entitled to her magic. Like, she wasn't getting appreciated. It was rough. It wasn't a good time. They were constantly under stress, but she never left. And Ron left, and then Ron came right back as soon as he could, despite the fact that it was hard and he knew what he was walking back into.
Hmm. Well, okay, so I have to speak to this astrologically for a second, which is okay. So a lot of people think friendship should be pleasant. From my side of the equation, I would, because we know what transits are and we watch people go through conflicted states and transits all the time, and a lot of people are trying for world peace, and a good astrologer is trying to handle conflict a lot because we deal with the wars and the pinch points and all that kind of stuff. I would rather have a friend who perseveres through the weird transits than somebody who's attached to pleasantries or pleasantness, right? I do like when me and my friends are pleasant together when that's available in the cosmos. Now do I want a friendship that's constant conflict? No, if the alchemy is not good enough, it's not worth it. It's not even good for humanity for us to try. But if we have a good alchemy, a baseline sweetness together of some kind, then I want to walk through all the pinches with my friend. I would rather have a conflict with my friend than get along with someone else in some ways, because I don't really have the depth with that other person. So I don't know. I think sometimes I like a commitment to try and persevere through the transits with a friend. That means more to me than pleasantness.
Well, this immediately pulls up my usual argument about nice versus kind, which is nice is always pleasant, whereas kind is building toward the growth of a person. And my seminal example of this is a college roommate who he was a big guy. He was like 6'2", but he was also kind of overweight. And so he took up a lot of space. And he was a very sweaty man because he was big and, just warm. And he told me that in high school, he didn't have a lot of friends for the first half of high school. And it wasn't until someone came along and was like, hey, man, you smell. And that's why people don't want to be around you. And maybe you should do something about it, that he was able to fix it. And being told that you smell isn't nice. Nobody likes that. But he was able to change like his cycle of when he showered and when he applied deodorant and just made other changes that made him not stink. And then he had friends suddenly because he was a fun guy to be around and talk to. It's just people didn't want to smell him. Right. And so I think sometimes the kindest thing you can do, and you've heard me say I'm warmly abrasive.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to confront people with the problems that they're having.
Is to tell the truth.
Yeah. In a way that says I'm on your side. I want you to
Yeah.
succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the warm part of warmly abrasive. But one of the services I have as a friend is if you tell me a thing that you want, you tell me what your goals are, and then I watch you choose something that's not that, I will ask what's going on in private, but I will ask. Like,
Yeah.
hey girl, this guy is nothing like you said you wanted in a partner. Why are you dating him? I understand that he's hot. Why else are you dating him?
Yeah, I had a friend or someone really close to me who kept talking about wanting to get sober. And then they did a thing where they were kind of drunk in a public event. And I was like, ultimatum, you have to get sober now. And like, but I did it because they kept talking about their goal to get sober. And like now they've been sober for 2.5 years and they're like so thankful that I kind of ultimatumed them. But I did it because that was their goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Rachel, your question.
Yeah. Have you ever been like what? Some people, they are looking for friendship, not for getting to know you or getting to know you. They're looking for friendship that's not really friendship. It's based on what they can get from you. Like how have you dealt with that?
So
the sense of like a fake friendship or a friendship that doesn't feel real, but you can't put a finger on why it doesn't feel real.
Well, putting my finger on why it doesn't feel real is kind of my whole jam. But there are things that happen there. So one thing I like to point out is friendship, any relationship really, is two people moving a couch. And
two people moving a couch?
Yes, two people moving a couch, always. So you've got
it takes some coordination.
And you got the friendship, which is the couch in the middle, right?
Okay.
Do you have to go upstairs or downstairs with the couch?
Well, let's start with flat, because upstairs and downstairs matters in a moment.
Okay.
But on a flat surface, you're going to know immediately if the other person's not holding up their side of the couch.
Oh, yeah. And
a thing that happens to me, because I notice this and I will call it out, I don't usually get caught up in people getting things from me. The other reason that this happens is that nothing I care about costs money, so I don't look like I have a lot of money. And I, we can talk more about my Scorpio placement, but I don't ever look like I have a lot of power that people can then leverage to climb the ladder. And if I become more obviously influential, this may change and I'll have to adjust some stuff. But it doesn't look very often like I'm in a position to be climbed on the social or corporate or power level ladder that other people might have.
Yeah.
But I will be immediately like, hey, you're not holding up your end of the couch. Like I've had people who said, I want to be friends. I'll be like, okay, cool. Let's set up a time to talk. And they're like, well, I live in New York City and there's so many people here. I'm like, so you don't want to be friends? No, I want to. Okay, but you're not going to do anything. You're not going to message me. You're not going to respond to my messages. You're not going to get on a call. You're not going to have a conversation to talk about when we can get on a call. You don't want to be friends. Like, you're specifically not doing the things that indicate you want to get closer. And so I don't usually end up in that situation. However, I really like making the lives better of people I care about. And I do think that if it's intentional and explicit, that you can have an imbalance in friendship in terms of who's doing more of the like caretaking and emotional labor. And this is where your upstairs situation goes in, which is I will build friendships for someone that I very much care about, where I'm willing to be on the bottom and pushing the couch up the stairs. But they still have to at least lift the couch a little bit, or I'm going to get caught on every step.
Or if you're pushing too hard, you're going to trap them on the steps because they weren't able to move yet.
That's a problem that occurs less often.
Yeah, I guess thinking about like acts of service or gifts that don't fit the relationship.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You do. It is very important in loving someone to know the person that you're loving, or they won't receive it.
Yeah.
My core example here is actually my relationship with my mother, where she had an image of who I was that she built when I was 8. And she never really saw her son as anything other than who I was when I was 8. And she threw tons of affection and support at what she thought was her son. And I never felt it because it was all going at this image she had in her head.
Yeah.
And so that'll happen all the time. If you're not actually attentive to who you're paying attention to, or if you're not attentive to who you're building a relationship with of any kind, you can't love them because whatever you're loving doesn't exist outside of your head.
Yeah. That lack of, that's a lack of authenticity because you cannot.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to be curious about who they are and what they're into.
Yeah. Have you dealt with that, Andy?
Oh, I 1000% deal with that. People climb up my ass constantly. I mean, they're always trying to get to my crowd, and I mean, that's what I find that I get quote unquote utilized. Let's use the euphemism for use. I get utilized for being on camera. Like what they'll do is they'll be my friend as long as I put them on camera, and as soon as we have to take them off camera for some reason, then they start being mean to me, call me names. Like that's happened to me several times. A real friend to me is somebody who would be my friend if we were doing show business together or not. But that can hang with me in front of the crowd, because I also have people who want to be my friend, but they want things to be done in private. And I'm like, I literally live and breathe on camera. Like, if you want a private friend, maybe seek out someone else. Like, because I can't remember what you can and get. Like, people who won't want their chart shared or don't want to talk about this or that. I'm like, you're making it really challenging for me to know how to interact. So I think those are my favorites. Are people who would be friends with me if we weren't on camera and love to be on camera with me. Those are my favorites. Also, I think there's something about the friendship stuff that really feels authentic when people just are really easy to schedule with. And because I'm always on time, as you can see, and part of the reason I started to do that was it shows great respect when you show up on time. Like, time's a power choice. So it doesn't matter who's who in the social sphere. If we both show up on time and we're both trying equally, then there is no power play. Like, it's like, it doesn't matter if someone's famous or not. We're just hanging out and we both respect each other. Like, that's what I really like, is people have a easeful relationship with time and power, and that, so I don't have to do like any of that stuff. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird complex algorithm that makes somebody actually my friend and not just like somebody who's using me. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain what it is,
And this is on top of the complex algorithm you're already doing of making a composite chart to see what do you want to build with this person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but I think anyone who's has something that other people want, whether it be airtime or whatever it is, I think is going to experience that. And I love what Canary said of like, if he gets more popular on camera and things, he's going to make some adjustments. That's how I look at it too. Is like adjust algorithms so do not get used. Like it's just like it's like very mechanical for me. It's like, oh, that one's not working. Oh, this, and I'm always trying. Some of them go for like 10 years and then it just gets imbalanced and they have to go. And like I'm getting used to losing people. I have a lot of scar tissue from a broken heart, and that's just being a water girl in show business. I don't know.
The
Sorry,
other
that was
thing,
a long answer.
no, that was great. The other thing I like to do, and this only works if you're willing to lose in public, is I will give people power and see what they do with it. And then that's a really good way of telling who is just trying to use you for whatever they can get. Because
You're
if you give
testing people?
always, it's not even conscious at this point. It's just like, okay, if I share my vulnerabilities, what happens? What does this person do with them? If I share something that I think is moderately private, what do they do? For example, I've just learned that I can't tell Andy anything that I want to keep absolutely private because it may end up on camera.
I mean, you can tell me, but it makes it real hard. I mean, it just makes a problem for me that I have to solve. You know what I mean? It's just like, but I can do it. I mean, it's not like I don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know things about me that you would never share on this. Like, yeah.
Yeah, well, one of the things I like about Shane is like he'll let me talk about his chart, lets me talk about anything, and it's like that's part of what makes an easeful relationship with my husband is like does not get mad at me for being a public persona. Like he's not like, you narcissist, and why you always have to be on camera, and like why do you have to say that? And like he does not make it complicated for me, and that's
from this perspective, it looks like he actively cheers you on.
Yeah.
I mean, he does it, and I cheer him on in his endeavors as well. It's just, I think a lot of people have this thing when you're in show business. Like, I've had friends who are like, "Oh, and you're on Facebook all the time," and like, "Oh, now you're on YouTube all the time." And I was like, "I'm sorry, but it's really hard to be friends since you keep critiquing my career. Like, this is my career." I mean, like, whatever. It's like I'd be like, "Oh, you have to make buttons all the time," and like, "Oh my god, now you're putting fairy hair in," and like, "What is your problem?" You know what I mean? It's like,
oh, there are people in my life. Yes, I've heard those lines.
But the key for me is to always start with something low stakes and see what happens.
Yeah.
So
and I want to substitute the word instead of testing. You're observing. You're giving space for someone to show up who they are, and you're observing, which I think is different than testing. I feel like testing has like a little bit of a like judgment situation, but the
that's true.
observing, like giving space and observing is more of like a, who are you and do you work for me and do I work for you?
Judgely testing.
That's also true. That is true. I am judging people constantly. That said, a lot of people tell me that I'm non-judgmental, and I think what it comes down to is that I am judging, but I don't think my judgment matters. I think that my judgment only matters if you care about my judgment for some reason, where it's like you have to want my approval for how you're living your life for my judgment to matter. And that's a high level of trust. That's a high level of this guy's wise, this guy's observant, this guy cares about me, and so I care what he thinks. And I think most people aren't there. So I will judge the hell out of someone and then not think it's important.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
So, what do we feel about being attracted to your friends? Is it okay to be attracted to your friend? And conversely, is it okay to be a friend with somebody who's you're not attracted to?
Yes and yes.
Hell yes and hell yes. Yeah. 100%. What are you talking about?
Okay, let's talk about it like just like, okay, is it okay to have, not okay, but like, how do I put this? I want to look at like crush versus friend, like, because I feel like I've heard the statement that if you're not in love with somebody a little bit, they're not your real friend. Like that if, like, you know what I'm saying? Like a real friend is somebody you're kind of in love with, like, what do we think of like attraction and friendship?
So, my go-to kind of catchphrase here, just to tell myself where the boundaries are, is friends don't ruin friends' happiness. So if I have an attractive friend and she's single, she's going to know I find her attractive instantly. It's like, she's going to know as I'm becoming attracted to her. that the attraction is growing because I am not subtle and I am going to explicitly say, hey, what's up? But if I'm attracted to a friend of mine who's married, I'm not touching that. I'm not mentioning it. I'm just going to be like, yeah, friends don't ruin friends' happiness. You are happily married to someone who adores you. I can feel the attraction and do nothing about it because why would I? And that's where I think love comes in, because love is willingness to use my resources for someone else's benefit.
Mm.
Telling them about my attraction, trying to steal them away would not be for their benefit. They're happy where they're at.
So this is where I think I'm a little different than like normal people, because just because my chart how it's wired, because I have a Pisces moon square Neptune, and I see people as beautiful Muppets or Fraggles. Like I get attracted to them in the spirit realm, right? Like it's not like a physical, like I want to be sexual with them. It's like, oh my god, like, and they become like a character to me. Like, okay, I'll use my friend Terica. We've been best friends for 25 years. We were together actually as girlfriends. We moved here, and now I still am attracted to her. I'm like, Terica's the freaking hottest thing that ever lived. And like, when I go to see her band, I'm like, Terica! I'm just like her biggest fan. And like, I'm like, the soul of Terica is the best thing that ever lived. You know, like, and like she wears my class ring on her left ring finger, like as if we're still married or something like that. Like, so I think coming from like a queer polyamorous perspective, it's like I think I have a little bit of a different, like, I'm in love with all my friends. Like every one of them is attractive to me, or I wouldn't be their friend in some way, because I'm like soul seed of so and so is amazing. Like, but it's not necessarily a sexual thing. It's a like, this person is awesome, kind of feeling.
So for me, there's love and then there's in love. And in love has to do with like the frenzy of excitement feeling of like, oh, I get to absolutely see this person that you get at a new relationship. And I will also equate it to what my friends in college called puppying onto a new shiny, which is my in love version, but for friendships, where it's like, I have met someone, they seem exciting, I like everything they're about, and I want to hang out with them a lot to find out who they are. So it's like a puppy just charging after a shiny new thing. That's a lot of energy and a lot of intensity up front. But for me, that is separate from what I feel is attraction. And so, yeah, there's definitely something about like, this person has a beautiful soul, but I don't think they're pretty. And for me, if we're gonna talk, like, I would reserve pretty and I would reserve in love for people I'm physically attracted to, as opposed to thinking someone is a beautiful person, someone I want to be around. And I have several beautiful people that I'm friends with.
Mhm. Yeah, for me, it's not. I mean, I guess like as a producer, you get beyond sex because you're like, oh, are we producing a sex act right now? Like for me, it's all a calculation. Like, serious, I'm like, is it on the schedule to have a sex act currently? Like then I will be doing that. Like it's like when you get into production, you're basically contriving attraction magical moments. Like we had this girl in the mix, Nina, and she came in to sing with me, and she and I were in love. Like I was just like, Nina, but like that's how I am with everyone who comes in to make art with us, is like I get attracted to their soul, and I'm just like, Nina's here, we're gonna make a video. And like I produced videos of us falling in love because that's what we was happening realistically. And so I was like, okay, let's produce a two girls falling in love. And so it's this thing where I know how to conjure a storyline that is people in love or attraction, or like, it's like there's certain elements you use: music, costuming, colors. Like there's all this stuff you can make to make a romantic scene. So it's like for me, you can have a friend that you do a romantic scene with. Like in this scene, we are romantically inclined towards each other, but like it's almost like a calculation to me. But like as far as like it's not really sex, not sex, but it's like what you're talking about is NRE, which is like what polyamorous call like new relationship energy, which is anytime there's a new shiny puppy, you're like NRE. No, I don't let that fade after the NRE phase is over. Like most people are like, honeymoon phase, it's over now. Now we're just friends. Now we're just regular. You've matriculated into my friend cycle, and like I guess when I have a good composite, I'm just like, this thing's gonna be freaking awesome forever. Like I'm more of that kind of funnel of like I. So I don't know. I think I just maybe feel things a little differently than most people, but it's, yeah, like I would never be attracted to a friend in them in as much as like saying they're pretty in as much as we're supposed to date because that's not what's being produced here.
Mm,
Like we're producing a friendship. Okay, let's be friends, but there's always attraction with anybody I do anything with, if that makes sense.
it does make sense. I don't experience it, but I think I can make sense of it.
Yeah. What about you, Rachel? Do you have crushes on friends or how does this work for you?
Yeah, I was thinking about magnets and how magnets, how they attract each other, and having like a magnetic pull towards somebody. Um, I've over this past like 2 years, I've slowly become a very good friend to someone in the dance world, where it's been feeling like she's a great girl. She's amazing. And the more I know her, the more I like her, you know. But the attraction, I feel like you do have to initially feel something of a spark of like wanting to know them. That is a generation of attraction or comes from a generation of attraction to even begin the process of getting to know someone.
And maybe this is
Okay.
a matter of opening it up to like the Greek versions of love, right? Like agapic love is real, right? Like that's the love between friends, right? There's like eros, which is like romantic love, and there's like agapic love. Like perhaps maybe
Yeah.
as a relationship anarchist, I feel the the threshold of cherishing agapic love is a lot higher than most like non-relationship anarchists. Like what relationship anarchists do is we don't hierarchicalize relationships. Like in polyamory you say I have my primary, then I have my secondary. In relationship anarchy you say all relationships are important and whatever I'm growing is important. If this friendship over here is failing, it affects every other system part of the system. Like so I guess maybe what it is that I hierarchicalize friend love to a higher level than most people. They and so that to them it feels like I'm in love with them, but it's really that I'm honoring the connection as I would a romantic relationship.
Which is very similar to how I feel about that.
Oh,
In
that's
that
beautiful.
in that for me, I don't understand the concept of romance. I have been told I'm romantic by a couple of people because of the close attentiveness I pay, and how if I do think someone's a potential life partner, it is just a lot of time spent attentive compared to what a friend would get because a friend's only around for a couple hours a week, right? But it's the same thing. It's just frequency and then the possibility of sex. Uh,
Yeah, totally.
So for me, romance is barely higher than friendship, and for me, friendship is such a high honor already. Like it's such a sacred thing.
Yeah, but I think to not everyone sees it that way. I mean, you know, there's something called the mountain of friendship, which I think we might have talked about. It's like people like walk up your mountain of friendship, and so it's like I feel like Rachel and I have walked less far up the mountain of friendship than perhaps Canary and I have because we're neighbors and we both are just like, oh, we are building a friendship like autistic people do or whatever. But the thing is I think if Rachel and I wanted to move up the mountain of friendship, we could calculatively do so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I also installed a ski lift, so
Yeah, you did. You're like, let's go to the top of the mountain. But yeah, I
no,
mean,
like
You made plans.
on me, no, for me in general, I've installed a ski lift, which is to be like, you want to go up the mountain of friendship. Here's how we fast track this. I mentioned on one of because Andy and I have taken walks around a park nearby because we live near a beautiful park and we both like going on walks. And I mentioned recently that there is a sense in which I kind of fall into the lesbian trap of U-hauling, where I start relationships with a ton of really deep conversation. That's
Uh-huh.
kind of the launching point, and that leads to a lot of potential closeness very fast. But it also lets me find out who someone is, how they work, how they want to be validated, how we would fit together, and then I can very intentionally build on that. And so there are people who will know me for 4 months and be like, we've been friends for a long time. And I've been like, we met 4 months ago. And they're like, what? How?
Yeah.
And it's just because of how fast I onboard.
I
oh, go ahead, Rachel.
No, I used to make friends that way, like very fast, very quick. But I feel like the older I get, the more I want friendship to come about slowly. I want to
Mm.
see you show up in little bits over time so that like I think I've been burned too many by the falling in friendship too fast.
Mhm.
What were we
Well,
going to say, Andy?
Well, I was just going to say, I've read a lot of management books, and one of the things they say you're supposed to do when someone new comes into your system is to onboard them with a lot of time and attention you give. And some people call that like the honeymoon phase, but it's actually onboarding. Like, so Canary's actually talking about it, and that's how I see it too. Is like, oh, new friendship, we got to onboard this. Like, so we're doing all this time, and then it dips if you want it to, or you can keep it steady if it's really fun for both of you. Like, but I
Yeah.
kind of have that fast track onboarding style for some people, you know. Sorry.
but with that, it also helps. One of the advantages to being a high functioning autistic is I spent most of my adult life disconnected from my emotions and not trusting them and kind of seeing them as the enemy. And I only had to date one succubus to be like, okay, the level of excitement at the start of a relationship is untrustworthy. So we are going to feel it. We're going to have fun feeling it, but we're not going to believe anything about it until I start knowing the ways in which they're going to irritate and annoy and frustrate me.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if I've said it here, but the really crass, easy to remember way of saying this is you don't love somebody until you know what their farts are like,
Mm.
which is to be like, because you might think someone's great and they're the bee's knees, but until they've had too much broccoli and you're just like, oh man, you're not seeing a person. You're still
Andrea,
living a
is
fantasy.
it, is it you that says you don't know someone till you've been with them for a full solar year, so you can see them through all their transits?
Yeah, their whole chart come out once. Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, and it is scary for some people. Like, for example, there's the love bombing concept, right?
Yes.
It's like with Canary and I, we've been trying to become friends, and we're not trying, but we are doing it. But I'm always having to walk on the eggshells of like, oh, if I'm too into Canary, is he going to think I'm love bombing him, or is he going to get nervous by the how much I'm honoring this new friendship? So then I take it slow, and there and but then it's like it's like this thing where you got to walk fast enough that they stay interested, but you can't walk too fast that they get winded. It's just all calculations to me. I'm just like, what is the weather like today on this? But also though, it takes bravery. Like if somebody wants to be like a good friend, they have to just go for it and just be like, all
Yeah.
right, well,
You
let's
chance
just
your arm.
yeah, chance your arm. Yeah, exactly. I believe in that.
I wrote
This is
down
also the thing with observations earlier, is I'm just willing to let people hurt me a little bit and see what happens. So like in the event that I get a platform where I'm having people on camera and people start being like, I'm going to hang out with Canary just so I can get on camera, you'll be able to tell pretty quick if someone's into me for being into me versus being into me just so that they can use me. And that means they get on camera once. And I am willing to lose that game and let them get on camera once a bunch.
Yeah, oh yeah. So
I want to say one line of something to underline what you were saying a second ago, Andy,
mhm.
and it was the subtle art of noticing mutuality.
Are they
Wow.
carrying their couch?
Yeah, I guess that really is that, but like
Did you
the
write that, Rachel, or where did you get that phrase?
oh, I wrote that. That was
Oh,
me.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I got, so I often say when people are like, I got used, I'm like, what about mutual utilitarianism? Like, what if you mutually utilize each other? Is that like no one's getting used, right? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
that's what I always try to do is like both you utilize each other.
I
Well,
have
have I
another
brought
phrase.
up?
It's like we did the exact same time. Mutuality is mantra. That's
Oh,
another one. It's just
interesting.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I call it,
One of,
there's, oh, go
one
ahead.
of my life mottos is find wisdom everywhere. And
Uh-huh.
so my favorite fan fiction ever had the concept of I only used you in ways that made you stronger. That's what it means to be used by a friend. Uh,
Ooh.
and I'm like, that's a really fun way to think about that, where it's like, yeah,
Yeah, that's
utilize you in a way that lets you grow. It's great.
so cool. Okay, I wrote a song once. It's 2 lines long. It's called Parody Party. Do you know what parody is?
P A
P-A-R.
R I T Y,
Yeah.
like equality or yes.
Yeah, it goes parody party. We are having a parody party. That's for all the Libras who
I love it. I love it.
because
This
Libras will
Libra
attach and
sun.
like they'll just attach. I'm like only attach if there's parity, which is what we're
Yes.
talking about. Like the mutual utilization is actually yeah. It's the same idea of being like equally yoked or having the scales the exact. You got to keep it real like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many more
Yeah.
questions we didn't get to. Jeez.
I mean,
I
you're
don't
just gonna have
know.
to do a part 3.
Canary, are you asking us out on a friend date?
I'm not. I mean, here's the thing. I don't feel like I can invite you to your venue.
He's not asking.
Oh my
I'm
god.
simply saying, like, if you have more things you want to ask me, and you live your life in public, well, I think you're gonna have to just put more time in, and then you're gonna have to add in a part 4 where you can just throw words at friendship.
Rachel, let
One
me
thing I wanted
okay.
one thing I wanted to talk about was the 1-7 like line in the chart where like that seventh house is that one-on-one relationship that is deep friendship, is intimate, but also is your open enemy, and how close that shift can happen.
So when can a friend become an open enemy, or what? How does that?
Hmm. Yeah, along those lines. Or how does the open enemy become a friend? Can
I
that
mean,
happen?
well, here's the thing. I think open enemy can become a friend, but I'd find it very hard to switch from friend to enemy, just because, again,
The
love.
trust. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's love and there's trust and good faith. There is someone who I absolutely love, who's not talking to me right now, and they they're kind of manipulative, kind of exploitative. They were kind of raised that way, but I don't like talking negatively about them because I believe that they're growing and that they won't always be like this. And so I'm still just kind of hoping that at some point we'll go back to being connected. Uh, so like they're not an enemy. I'm not fighting them. I'm just going to kind of move away and let them do what they have to do for as long as they need to do it.
Rachel, I want to speak to that. So, I want to talk about kayfabe next week at the production meeting, which is like in professional wrestling where you have beefs, which are kind of fake, real, fake. Um, when I'm transiting with my friends, sometimes we get into like beefs or whatever, and it's like if they're really my friend, we can beef and then still be fine at the end of the transit. It's almost like you kayfabe it. You're like, and then in this episode, we had a beef over X, Y, Z, right? Kind of thing. My friend Jay Z and I are having that because he's ultra clean and I'm kind of like a scattered Pisces mess, and so like we were talking about sharing a hotel room at this cruise, and we almost lost our friendship over it, and we're like, no, but like we're almost favoring the whole thing of just like, oh, you're clean and I'm dirty and like whatever. But the thing is I think an enemy would be somebody who stops trying with you and then you transit with, or your goals
Hmm.
become mutually exclusive, like your goals cannot, not only are they not aligned, but they are at odds with each other. And so it has a lot more to do, like Canary saying, the goal thing of like if your goals are separate, then it becomes an enemy because you can't, you know by being together there is something you can't do there. I mean, so that's why I'd rather have a commitment to have conflict with my friends so we can stay on the friend style even through the conflicts. But if someone's an enemy, then it's like mutual exclude, or what is it, a contraindication for the life purposes kind of.
Yeah, I've got
Contraindication for the life purposes.
I know we're at the end of time, but I got to throw two things in there. One, huge compliment I got from a friend last Thursday. I was hanging out, and he said, "Canary, I really appreciate how it's okay that I can be angry at you. I'm not angry at you right now, but I was, and I'm glad that it was okay." And I'm like, that's huge, right? You got to be able to just receive your friend's anger. And the other thing I'm thinking about here is X-Men. I think in stories, you're just going to have to deal with that. But in X-Men, Professor Xavier and Magneto almost always opposed in terms of how they're going about things. Their teams have to fight a lot, but they both are former friends who want mutants to be safe and to live in harmony, or in Magneto's place, not harmony. That's kind of the problem. But they want mutants to feel safe and that they have a place to be. And they very much respect each other. They only fight because Magneto's willing to do some bullshit to non-mutants that Professor X isn't okay with.
Hmm.
Right? They're friends.
Like a
They're opponents. They're not
conflict,
enemies.
conflict of interest.
Right,
It's,
but they're not even enemies. They appreciate what each other's trying to do. They just have to fight each other.
yeah, interesting. Yeah, that was a whole can of worms that we couldn't get to. Okay, so Rachel, are you okay having Canary on the show again?
Yeah, we can do 3.
All
Okay.
right, part three. Canary, are you okay coming on the show again?
I kind of think I explicitly asked to about 7 minutes ago.
That's true. That's true.
But
Okay.
I-
Well, we will utilize you in a way as to develop you and ourselves at the same time.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. I will get to scheduling that. All right. Thank you, Canary.
It's
Thank you.
lovely talking friendship.
It is fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's lovely.
I mean, there's so many places we can go. At some point, we can do charts.
Yeah, charts. They just get interwoven. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Ciao.